Hey guys, it's me Romie here. So yeah, this is the review for Growing Up Hip Hop Season 1 Episode 4. Oh Romeo, Romie. Oh. Okay, so it actually starts off where it left off last week, which is where we see Kristinia getting up, and because Angela and I forgot who the other person was, they were kind of grilling her because of the fact that she skipped out on Angela's show. And understandably so, because the thing is, Kristinia didn't try to reach out to them until it was pretty much too late. So I understand why Angela was upset. I really do. But here's the thing. Angela, because she's one of those A1 type personalities, just like Dane Dash, it's kind of like, alright, in one ear, screw you, out the other type of thing. So she's only going to want to hear something in her own time. And so when Kristinia is essentially being grilled and they don't know why, she's just taking it because she knows and understands why they're upset. But it's like, if you knew my situation, you wouldn't be going at me this hard. And so Kristinia finally breaks down because Angela gets up to go after her to just kind of say, okay, what's going on? And so that's when she says, you know, I just found out my father got out of jail and he's been battling substance abuse for a long time. And so I think she even was like, and I don't know where he is. And so that's when Angela was just like, oh crap, I done messed up. And so that's when she didn't, I wouldn't call it backpedaling, but I would definitely call it, alright, girl, I'm sorry. And of course, this Neil was still actually trying to apologize while she was saying all this stuff. And Angela was just like, yeah, no, please don't make me feel worse than I already do. And again, it's one of those weird situations where Kristinia was wrong for ignoring Angela when she was trying to reach out earlier within the day. But it's not like she should have just gone that hard on her, period, because that wasn't professional if we're talking about being professional. And so they're good for now, but we'll see next week. They're pretty much on the rocks again because of Romeo, but that's another story. So everyone's going down to, what is it, Miami, or they're in Miami or LA or whatever for, of course, Reverend Run's show, and Run DMC's show, but you know how that is. And so they're also there to celebrate TJ. He's performing with them. And so it's a big moment. So you also have Tiffany, which is Chris Lighty's daughter. She's also down there. And you know, they're trying to give TJ a pep talk because he's nervous as hell. And he was like, gosh, I'm sweating out here. And it's just like, oh, it's hot. What are you talking about? Yeah, and side note, Yaz, aka, what is it, Brazier Gray, aka Hakeem from Empire, he was also there, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm actually, not, I shouldn't say actually, I'm a fan of yours, and he was like, really? I mean, he really had that, like, are you sure type of look on his face. It's just like, you're Angela Simmons. And she was like, yeah, I know your work. And I'm thinking, oh, so she knows him. Because remember, Yaz did start off as a rapper in real life, and he was kind of building up a following, and that's partially why he got on the show, because he was already kind of known, if nowhere else, at least in Philly. So we get to the point where they're performing on stage, and it comes time to, of course, wave your heads in the air. But aside from that, we have TJ. This is his moment. He's going to pay tribute to his father, and of course he kills it. Now, I'm not really familiar with the whole really DJing with the turntables and all of that. So, I guess from whatever standards it is, he killed it. It sounds good. Everyone else seems excited. So, and it was in front of 80,000 people. So, big props to him. Of course, Kristinia was also there. And so, after he performs, you know, they just go in the back and they talk about it, and of course they congratulate him. They show him love. But we get to this really touching moment because he was just talking about how it was cool that he was able to pay homage to his father. And of course, Tiffany Lighty was also there, so she, I think, talked about her father for a moment. And since we know Chris Lighty died, how he died is still a mystery. That's how I'm saying it, because I don't believe that he just committed suicide just to do it. I don't know if it was either him or his family would be get hurt. That's what I'm personally thinking. But also, Kristinia herself was saying how, you know, her father is alive and she wants to, of course, love and honor him and be there for him. And because, what's his name? Because TJ was like, you know, definitely give your flowers to the people you love while they're here, type of thing. So, we get past that, and we have this really interesting scene with, I just came to realize that, I don't know why it took me so long, Dame Dash is really the one in charge of this part of the episode and series, as far as being the front person. Boogie is there because he's his son and he's the next generation. But Dame Dash gets more camera time, talks more on the show, is more involved in the show than his son. And so, it makes sense. But this was a touching scene because, you know, he's one of those men that actually wants to be in their kids' lives. But his baby's mothers aren't there, in the sense that they don't want to meet him halfway. It's really their way of the highway. And clearly there's a reason why Boogie is with his father instead of his mom. He still loves his mom and of course respects his mom. But he doesn't live with his mom. He hasn't lived with his mom in a long time. And he can't actually see his other siblings. He can see his siblings, but his father can't see his siblings because money. Money came in the way of everything. And so the women are, I guess, essentially using the kids as give me more or do this for me, do that for me. And it's always messed up when it's a situation like that. And so Angela, she's talking about how she has this stalker and she's finally accepting the fact that she has a stalker. And it's crazy because the stalker left her a voicemail and I'm like, how in the hell does the stalker have her number? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, so that number's changed or get it blocked. But, so, we have Kristinia. She's with her uncle, Eldebarge. Eldebarge is, you know, he's initially playing around. It's just like, oh, Kristinia. But then, it goes from that to, she just wants to know the truth. It's like, stop playing around with me. Where's my father? He knows where her father is. He's not telling her because he's like, yeah, he doesn't want anyone to, be around him right now. And so he was like, let me handle this. And so it's not your job or your responsibility. I'm telling you not to do anything at this point. And she's just like, you know, I'm grown, so I'm still going to be there for my father regardless. Thanks. Sorry, not sorry type of thing. And so then we get to Romeo. He's still in Bulgaria. And he's having a dinner with his, it looks like the male cast members of the movie that he's on. What is it, Jarhead 3, I believe? And it's interesting because this is when he's talking about how his girlfriend and him aren't on the same page and definitely on different stages of life. And so as a result, he's really kind of like going to take a break on that. And Angela finally sees the detective and talks about what's going on and that the stalker just contacted her. And the guys were like, so are you sure that this is the same person that has been contacting you? He's like, yeah, he's the same person that gave me the teddy bear, the same person that gave me the flowers, that did all of this stuff. And so they're like, well, you need to go and DM him and tell him to stop contacting you or else. And she's like, well, I don't even want to contact him because wouldn't that make the situation worse? And it's like, no, if you tell him to stop and make it very clear and he doesn't, then you can take his ass to court. You can get a restraining order. And if he breaks that order, then he can be arrested. It can count as aggravated assault. He can be arrested. And she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it because she feels like that'll aggravate him. That'll lead him on and make the situation worse. So anyway, of course, there's another Skype moment between Romeo and Angela. And it's just like, okay, what's really going on with your girlfriend? And he tells her that he's kind of on a break or whatever. And she's just like, okay. So he was like, so do you want to go and have like a date? Like a date, like a casual date on the beach. Okay. Okay. Oh, and by the way, Angela's actually living with her what was it, her stylist or whatever for the moment because she needed to get away. And it was just like she was telling her stylist, go back to sleep, be quiet. And it's just interesting because my whole thing is you're telling her in her own house to go back to sleep, be quiet type of thing. And she was also like, she was just like, that's Angela for you. So anyway, we have, oh, Vanessa. Vanessa shows up, and it's pretty much like them two having their own show again, because the same usual stuff. It was like, oh, what's up, what's up, sis? And it's like, what's up? And so it was like, where's the baby? It's like, shut up! And then it's like, oh, so I have a stalker. It's like, what do you mean? You always say you have a stalker. And it's like, no, I have a legit stalker, and I have all this proof. And it's like, so what'd you do about it? Did you go to the police? It's like, of course I went to the police. And what did they say? They said, well, to go to DM the guy and tell him to stop. And it's like, well, did you? No. Why didn't you do it? And it's like, because I didn't want to. Why didn't you do it? Because if you wanted to stop, then why didn't you do it? And it's like, what will they do in return? And it's like, well, it will basically count as aggravated assault. We can get a warrant and all that stuff. And it's like, so why didn't you do it? It's like, I'm not going to do it. It's like, oh, shut up. No, I'm leaving. That was really it. And so we get to the scene where they're at Romeo's house. And of course, the first one to show up is Angela. And then Kristinia and Boogie come around at the same time. And they're being very playful. And of course, as we know, Kristinia also has a huge crush on Romeo and has always had a huge crush on Romeo. And as a result, it was interesting to see Romeo and Angela still flirt and do all of that. And it's going to be so interesting next week. I'm telling you guys, if you guys haven't been watching, you need to watch, because they are going to do something really big as far as in the sense of Angela versus Kristinia. I'm just waiting for it. I'm so ready. So anyway, you have them working out and stretching and do all of that. And Romeo's liking what he's seeing. And Angela's liking what she's seeing. And Boogie's just playing around with Kristinia. And that just sounds weird. But yeah, that is what was happening. And so, again, next week is going to be fire. Because there's going to be huge conflict. Huge conflict. So yes, we have Romeo dealing with Egypt, and because Egypt's doing a photo shoot for his, I'm not sure what line it's for, but she's doing the photo shoot because she's young, pretty, so why not? Famous, well, has a famous mom and is trying to become famous herself. And so then her mom, you know, Peppa, comes into the scene. She's knocking on the window. It's like, ah! It's like, oh, momager alert, momager alert. And so Romeo tries to smooth it over by saying how, okay, let me go and let me find something for you to wear. And it's like, oh yeah, I can be part of it. It's like, yeah, of course. And so Romeo sees how this is going because she doesn't stop. So he's just like, okay, we're done for the day. Great job, great job. And Egypt's just like, Mom, love you, but Romeo and the crew know what they're doing. Someone needs you to fall back. And she's like, oh, word? Okay. And so, and she's young as well. So, of course, her mom's going to be extremely protective. She's trying to be in the music industry and she's young. So, we get to Angela. You know, she's at her office and Vanessa's there, and Vanessa's just like, so what's going on with Romeo? It's like, what do you mean? And so Angela is like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you're going on a date? It's like, why are you wearing that if it's not a date? It's just something on the beach. You know, I always look good when I go out regardless. And it's like, oh, okay. Okay. So we fast forward and we have Angela and Romeo on the beach. And Angela had these like, what, 5-6 inch heels that she was going to wear. And it's like, what are you doing? Come on now. And so she takes them off and he takes her out on the beach for the little beach date. And she's trying to figure out what's going on with him and his girlfriend. And you just see the chemistry and they're just playing around. He just says the same spiel about they're in 2 different places. And then they talk about them potentially having something. Again, being very playful with it all. And yeah, we'll see how long that playfulness lasts. I'm just warning you. Watch next week. So, the final scene is actually with Angela and the legendary Russell Simmons. And he's just like, so what's going on with the business? Well, you know, I'm trying to get some investors, trying to get it off the ground. And he was like, remember how when my brand started, they were making no money. I had no investors for like 2 years. And then it popped off. And it became like $1 billion company. So don't give up. And she was like, no, I'm never going to give up. And it's like, okay. So then she's like, what's going on? He's like, what's going on with your love life? And it's like, you know, so it's in Romeo. And it's like, oh, so you and Romeo. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that until I'm married. I'm not going to do that until I'm married and I'm with the right person. And it was like, I don't know, there could potentially be something there with Romeo. And Russell's just like, you realize this is Romeo, like Casa effing Nova over there, right? So this isn't going to be just, oh, you know, you two are dating and cuddling and all that stuff. And she's just like, oh, gross, stop it. And again, he just kind of reinforces, keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop, because that's how you get to the top. And he was also like, they talk about her stalker, and he's like, what? Essentially, he's like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you thinking? And she was just like, well, you know, I was supposed to DM this guy and tell him off. And he was like, did you do it? She was like, no. And then he was like, why didn't you? And it's like, no, I just didn't do it. And it was like, do I need to call your father? No. Do I need to call your father? No. And then it was like, you need to take care of yourself. You need to do this, you need to do that. Stay at someone's house, do that. And it's like, yeah, I have that all covered. I have it all covered. I love you, okay? Mwah, 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 bye. And so then she gets up to walk off, and she's just like, duh. And runway style. And he's like, why are you walking like that? This isn't a runway. She's like, this is how I walk. It's like, oh. So that was it. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, because next week is going to be interesting. Well, actually, no, that wasn't it. I'm sorry. Romeo and Master P have a quick talk about how great everything's going for him and to keep it up, essentially. But next week's going to be fire, because it's going to be Romeo, Kristinia, and Angela. This very weird and awkward love triangle. So we'll see how that works. Please come back. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think.